This is another episode on creatives. This is another episode with Coffee with Creative Chasing Lines. Coffee with Creatives Chasing Lines. I need to try and get used to that. In the creative process, breaking the rules doesn't mean just throwing the rules away. Yes, rules are meant to be broken, but having rules sometimes make it fun. In the advertising world, it is sad that certain instances, rules are already pre-written for you, so which makes it a bit harder. Always just playing in the small sandbox. But it's also how to negotiate with clients and figuring out the best ways to still work within the confines of certain rules and making the creative work and shine for the best work possible. In this chat, we end up talking about what rules do for creatives and how bending the rules and working around it makes it part of the fun. Say, for instance, just restricting yourself to using charcoal to draw, will make certain things be more fun. So I hope you learned something in this video, and I'm glad you're here. I hope you enjoy it. All right. Last week, we chatted about, I'd say briefly, about the Super Bowl stuff. Yeah, I think I used to be really excited about them. Now it's like when you watch them, it's like me. It's the same one-trick pony. Lot of budget, blowing budget, and to your point, the Anthropic ads were much better conceptually. But yet again, like, we dig them. I don't know if the audience would have the same appreciation. I just wish they do. Yeah, I mean, it's sad the way that ads are going, but I think we still at least do our part. Trying to make the best work possible.
Try.
Any way possible.
Yeah, we try. I think that's the oh man, I think that's every creative's dream, right? Is to make the ads we saw growing up. The ones where the creative had full, and it was obviously responsible, right?
Mm-hmm.
But where we had kind of full reign as to what the creative output would be. I remember I had chats with like older creatives, older directors, and it would be that thing that, no, we'd go into the room, we'd say, this is what we're doing. Client would be like, cool, as long as you know that this is the one thing I want to communicate. Do you, right? And then the directors would get involved and they would be like, cool, this is what we're doing. And then the agency would be like, as long as you know that this is the one thing the client wants to get in. And they just went, right? And so it was the client going, this is what I want to say. Agency going, cool, we'll say what you want to say in this way. Director goes, cool, I'll say what you want to say, what client wants to say, how I envision it, right? And that's why, like, some of the older ads that you see are just so brilliant. You go, what on earth was, like, what? No, it was the artists being allowed to create art. And I think now, because there's so many additional messages that need to be spoken, right? So it's not just one thing. It's, yes, we need to say this, but we must also say this to clarify this. When we clarify this, it means we must also say this. And it means that this must do this. And from this message, this is what the overall message must be to the consumer. And then you're like, oh, wait, but then where's time for the creative? So yeah, you'll see how you can fit it in.
You're the creative. You make it happen. And it's exactly that. There's a lot of things that applies where, and what you're saying is mainly, there's a space and time where the creatives was in the driver's seat. They had more for play. they had more fun to do funny things. I did a podcast with Ridwan. I don't know if you saw some of the clips that I'm posting
Yeah,
recently.
I watched. Yeah, I was watching them. Yeah.
There was a there's so many good parts, and I just feel like I just want to put all the best highlights just to show, like, the conversation that we have. And one of them
Yeah.
was and he kind of spoke really quickly about it, because he and I, we speak a lot about this ad. And I don't know if you remember the 36 ad by All Gold.
36.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Now, if you remember, okay, for those who don't know, this is an ad by All Gold years ago, where I don't think there was many guardrails or rules or anything. It opens on the ad with this dude in this coal. Was it a lighthouse? No, it wasn't.
It's
lighthouse.
like a booth. It's like a security booth announcement area type thing.
And then he's talking to someone. He's like, and he's paging through this magazine, and he sees. No, actually, like, how did he come to saying
He's
the
got-
word 36?
So he's got a lisp, right?
Yes.
And so there's a thingy where he does an announcement, and then he says 6, and then someone says, "Hey, say 6 again," and he goes 6.
And and if you think about, like, what's the purpose of that? Does that say 36 tomatoes in a jar? And
Yeah,
it doesn't, but it's fun. It's like,
it's memorable.
It's
right? And
memorable.
I think I just if you want to share it, I just sent you the link. But I think it's the thing of going, is the ad memorable, right? Because we're fighting for, like, human attention, and we go, so don't make an ad that people will forget. Make an ad that's memorable.
enjoyable as
Because
well.
when 100%, because when the ad's memorable, it's the brand that's memorable, right? So it's like, cool, yeah, it's tomato sauce or whatever it is, but what people remember is All Gold. So when they walk into the store, whether it's beans or whether it's the corn or the tomato sauce, the thing that stands out is All Gold.
Freaking amazing.
Yeah, man.
I think one of my seniors, once upon a time, Greg Watts, he was telling me that it's almost like back in the days where you'd watch a TV show, and it's almost like you're watching this thing, and then all of a sudden you get interrupted by the doorbell. And then you go to the doorbell and you see this person or thing. You better make sure that the attention that you just grabbed is worth your while.
Is worth it, because
You can also go the other way. You'll irritate people. And that's such a profound thing that we probably don't enjoy nowadays. When you were talking about the artists doing their work and were doing what they're supposed to, there's this guy that I follow now. I've not been so interested in reading until I came across this dude. His name is Brandon Sanderson, and he writes this book called he's like, this guy, he is, I don't know if you know Wheel of Time.
No.
So this Wheel of Time was the era before George R. Martin wrote Game of Thrones, and Game of Thrones was, he was dominating at his era of book writing. Before him was this guy called was it Robert Jordan, who wrote to Wheel of Time. What happened was he kind of like got to a point where he slowed down in writing because of age, and then what slowed it down even more is that he got sick, and he got deeply sick, and he passed away. And nowadays, a lot of the publishers trying to hold those IP, because obviously to make enough money, so they always say, like, okay, cool, you need to have the story structure to be like this so it can be more gripping and stuff like that. This guy, he wrote so many books, like he's like a little bit older than us. I think he's a Gen X. This guy's written so many books. He's slowly reaching to a point where he wrote as much as Stephen King. And Stephen King's written many. This guy's like catching up at the rate he's writing. Anyways, and he was explaining that because his success is based on how much control he has over his books.
Over the creative, yeah.
And it's just fascinating now it's fascinating that the less control that the corporates have, the more fun that the creatives is allowed to express themselves.
But, and I think, because you make, like, the point you're making there, and I think it's interesting, is, so there's still confines that he has to work in, right? Like there's still structures that he has to work in, right? Like all story structures are the same, right? You have your
protagonist.
What did my English teacher call it? So you have your main characters, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then you've got your what's it called? There are three of them, man. Ah, snap. But anyway, it's like 3 story arcs that exist.
Mm-hmm.
Where you've got your and part of it is like your antithesis, and then at the end you've got your synthesis. I forgot what the first one's called. I'm gonna get beaten up for this, but but basically it's kind of like you have a thing that sets up, you have a thing that comes up and challenges that norm that you have, and then the end of the story is the new thing that you've learned, or the character comes out of that, right? Those are still like rules that exist from a story perspective. How you do that is complete. How you break those, how you use those rules and break those rules is completely up to you. But they still should exist, right? That's why if you watch like a Quentin Tarantino movie where he jumbles all the things, like where he jumbles time and all of that stuff, in terms of like the narrative of the story, it's like, yes, he breaks those things up in terms of which one comes before what, but at the end the rules still apply. And I think the clients assume that if they don't rein us in, there are no rules for us to do the work that we do. It's like, no, all creativity has rules, right? Like it's we know that within creativity there are rules, and we still need to follow those rules. Mm-hmm. The goal of creativity is finding different ways to pull people into our creative work. So before, you do work of emotion. So am I making you laugh? Am I making you cry? Am I making you angry, right? And once we got to a place where you could do that with writing, you go, okay, cool. How do we do that visually, right? Once you go to how do we do that visually, and we're balancing that out, it's like, how do we do that from a filmic point of view, right? That's why you then have things like breaking the fourth wall. It's going, how else, like what other things do I do that help me engage the viewer outside of the things that I'm currently doing now, right? So you create new rules, but there's still rules for the fourth wall. You can't use it just willy-nilly as you want to, which is what I felt like Deadpool 2 was doing, right? Mm-hmm. It just threw all the rules of fourth wall out and was just, let's just look into camera and talk to people. As opposed to when it started, there was intention to it. It was purposeful. And I think they forget that all creative has purpose. All creative still has rules. But if you write the rules for us, then the thing that you want, you won't get, because you don't fully understand the rules as yet. And it's not because they're dumb, or it's not because they're ignorant. It's because people, we studied the rules, right? We were taught the rules. The rules were forced, the rules were forced into us, right, by CCOs and ECDs and CDs and creative group heads. Like, they beat those rules into us, but they also gave us the room to go, cool, now that you know them, how can you play within those confines, right? Yeah, man. So it's always hard.
You put it so eloquently. That is exactly, and the funny thing is that rules are always changing, and rules are only set in place to make sense of that creative. So funny thing, you picked out those 3 things. Brandon Sanderson wrote another version of it, but with the way he explained it, it's actually quite similar. So he calls it the 3 Ps. It's promise, progress, and payoff. And when I heard that, I was like, oh man, that is such a interesting story structure, and you can actually apply that to any creative, which is why I'm so interested in what he does. And oh, mind you, side note, he also gives writing lectures for free on YouTube, and I
Is it?
watched some of it. It's just, but he talks about like character building and stuff like that. But when I started looking at it, I always had to look at things with the lens of a creative director. What piece of this can I pull out? And this is one I pulled out, was promise, progress, and payoff. So promise is like,
Yeah.
you start laying off the thing that in hopes that this person may change. So when you follow a character, you show its flaws, you show
Yeah.
all the different things, but in some case you want to root for this person. Depends how you want to build this character. Progress is obviously the journey too. So that's seeing the different things that they fumble on, building character. The payoff is finally they've met that end. What happens? Then obviously you fulfill that. So yeah, so Brandon Sanderson, his current my favorite person that I'm following right now, and his books are interesting. These books are dark. Eh? So when you said confines, his confined is 1,000 pages in a book, and that's the limitation of the physicality of binding a book.
Jeez.
And he kind of went over it still. So this is the one I read recently. It's called Mistborn. It's a horrible cover. He admitted it. It's one of the worst covers he's had. But the story,
But sometimes those covers have good stories, eh?
flip man, it's just good. And I'm on this reading journey that's taking me on this rabbit hole. Like I've never read so much. I've always been interested in writing. I think becoming a creative director, because I came from that art direction pillar. I've always been sort of interested. I mean, the stuff you do. So when we work together, I was like, flip man, I wish my brain worked that way. And even when I was speaking to Ridwan, and he kind of confirmed it, is that, on our end, we're so good at throwing ideas, and they can be clusters, and they're kind of sporadic, and they're everywhere, sort of in the same thought pattern. But you guys have to string it all together and try and make bring it back together and make it make sense within a line or two. That for me is like the best crafting that I've witnessed.
But it's still it's the beauty of that, right? There's the confines of, we've got all the words. Can you say all those words in like 2 words? But it's the same with what you do, right? Because I think there are like 4 people that I've started following on Instagram from a design point of view, right? Because you're CD from art director, and then you go, okay, cool, now I need to understand writing because I need to CD that writing. I'm CD from a writing perspective. I'm like, no, I need to understand design. So I've started following these designers.
Oh, yeah?
And one of them, I think his name is Alan. I think his name is Alan.
Please send him to me.
But he'll look at designs, right? And he'll look at Alan Peters.
I follow him. This guy's genius. He exploded last year.
Right?
Yeah, he's amazing. I follow him as well.
But I think the beauty, and I think I follow him specifically for, there's like, cool, you've done this, but how else can you think about it, right? Even from a layout perspective, there's another one that I follow specifically from like layout in terms of logo proportions with text and all of those things. But it's like, how do you then still, because rules must exist for that, right? We're not just throwing things out. It's like rules must still exist for that. So it's like people's like, I want it to be blue. But while it's blue, I also need it to say strength. But while it's also strong, I also need it to look sleek. And you also take all of these things and then you build on that. And my intrigue is like, okay, cool. Like they said lots of things, but how did you make that happen from there? There's another one who looks at logos, like shop logos, like mom and pop shop logos. And he'll redesign that the original logos that they have, but make them modern, right? With the intention of kind of going, this is still what the store's about. But it's just watching people go through that process within the rules that still makes the logo awesome and beautiful, right? And hardworking, to the point where when you look at it, you immediately know what the shop's about, right? And I think it's, yeah, man. There's beauty in following those rules. I think it's painful where and Netflix is going through the same thing, right? Because Netflix is the client at this point. And every movie that you make, they give you prerequisites as to this is the structure. This is what you have to do. You have to repeat the plot a million times because people are on their phones, right? They're already thinking on behalf of people. No, guys, make a movie that's worth watching. Like if you make a movie and it immediately gets someone locked in, they're gonna put their phone down, right? I want to this day, credit to the Rousseau brothers, to this day, I watch Endgame. And I'm not looking at my phone. I know everything that's going to happen. But I'm still intrigued at like the decisions they made, the small tweaks that they made to kind of tell the story in terms of leaving you hanging for a bit. Same with Ryan Coogler for the first Black Panther. Let's not talk about the others. For the first Black Panther. But in terms of all of those things, it's still like a beautifully built movie that follows rules, but the guys did whatever they did, and these are the ones I'm talking to, right? Because they're everyday kind of movies. I'm not going to talk about like the old school stuff, like Metropolis. And no, that's the. But it's like the current stuff that still kind of works towards considering, and this is current popular kind of stuff that every person watches, right? But I think there's still. And so the point is that they're still struggling with trying to make the rules for the purposes of sharing information as opposed to for the purposes of making people feel, making people love that movie, making people, because if you're going to create a movie that won't grab attention, but you're also doing it with the knowledge that it won't grab attention and trying to bolster it up so that people don't get lost, then that's not a movie worth making, right? The movie you're making must pull people in. It must be intriguing. At the end of the movie, it's either I hate the character or I love the character. It's either I hate the villain or fall in love with the villain, right? And yeah, man, I think for me that's that. It's don't shortchange people.
And I think what's happening with movies nowadays is always like that underlining message that they're trying to portray. But that's a format, It's a format that, like when you're so used to these formats, you're like, I've seen this, and I think it becomes less gripping when you're like, oh, I've seen this thing. It's the same story told in a different way or a different wrapping. It just become, people lose interest very quickly, and I think that's the problem when they, oh, but this worked then. Surely, if we just had to have a new wrapper and then like it'll work now, it's like, and that's in that case, it's not true. We're so inundated by content, like nothing feels new anymore. I just think it's not because nothing's new. It's just being rewashed, and people notice it, and people don't know where it comes from, but they feel like it's been told many times over.
Yeah, and that's why Nicolas Cage, I mean, obviously it was for tax reasons, but he started acting in B-grade movies, and he said like that was probably like the most fun he's had in giving B-grade directors the opportunity to create work and have their movies funded, because they're not coming with your typical Hollywood scripts that have been dictated to by the different producers there who are like, cool, this worked last time, let's just rehash it. It's already a formula. No, these guys are coming up with their own kind of different ways of like different film techniques, different ways of storytelling, different stories that those Hollywood execs would otherwise not have greenlit if it was for the sake of the story. But they go, oh cool, I've got Nicolas Cage who's signed on. Then they're like, yeah, cool, we'll give you like $2 million to do your thing.
Mind you,
right?
that's nothing.
That's nothing, right? But they've got the money to make the movie, and they're slowly starting to become like artists that you see slowly shooting mainstream movies, right? And I think, man, that's the whole point of creative, right? It's wherever we can, we do what we should, and then wherever we can't, we just make terrible Super Bowl movies. Ads.
How much more time you have? I got one more insert.
Let's go.
So we're so close to finishing it. Every time we're trying to finish this movie, like something comes up, or like a nappy needs to be changed. I'm so close to finishing Infinity Castle. What?
Oh, Demon Slayer.
Demon Slayer.
I haven't watched it yet. I'm waiting for a moment where I can sit and watch it.
Okay, then I won't say anything more. I want you to watch it before you understand what I'm saying.
Okay.
But anyways, it's like it still goes, but what you're saying now, it's like when you're so bound to the different formats, you know, it's sad because anime used to be so great because there was very little. I don't know. It might be. I don't know if it's true, but it feels like there's very little limitations. You know, like when Naruto was coming along, it's like who watches a couple of 100 episode thing, or like One Piece? Like it's like no one's like, I don't know if this was their thought pattern back then, but like everything at that time was 26 episodes or like a 20-part episodes. You know.
Yeah.
And then that was it. Like those one-off deals. But then now you get like it's ongoing stuff. It was great for its era, but that format is now like rehashed and stuff like that, and they had time. They had time to express different characters. Demon Slayer, like I know that's the formats and stuff like that. I just wish it was longer, so you're more invested in those characters. Because it's riding on hype. It's riding on people's attention. It's kind of sad that IP is like gone to where it is. There's lots of people like it. I know the visuals are great, but it's just an investment. I think that a lot of content is lacking that now.
It's the same problem. Within that, it's the same problem. What's this? Invincible has. Where
I'm so upset.
You want to rush the job because people love it so much, and so you're no longer using the same care that went into seasons 1, and I guess seasons 2, right? Where you're just rushing it. So you're rushing the writing. The writers don't have time to craft the story and work towards building those characters. Because it took, if I'm not mistaken, about 2 or 3 years for season 2, because I watched season 1 and I waited, man. I waited.
Same.
Then season 2 came out, and when season 2 came out, Amazon said, cool, you guys have 9 months to work on season 3. And it's like, what do you mean 9 months? Like, do you know how much time goes into animation? So the quality of the animation drops, and it's not, and we look at the animators and the illustrators, right, and we go, oh guys, what's going on? It's like, no, it's a time crunch, right? The story's weird because the writers don't have time because they need to get the stuff out so the animators can animate. And so it's like, again, with all of this, it's like, because there's a rush, because people just want to make the money, the art of telling stories or the art of being creative just dies. And it's so sad.
I mean, let's not talk about One Punch Man. Flippin' hell. Like, that is the most
don't,
upsetting.
Don't get me started. I'm so
Yes,
heartbroken.
so
You have
heartbroken.
no idea
So much
how
potential, and it's
heartbroken
just
I
thrown
was.
into the air, just like. And
I'm
it's
heartbroken.
and it's interesting how the same things are happening
Yeah,
in cross industries,
everywhere,
in the same like different industries.
everywhere.
One is the anime industry, movies, ads. It's across the board, and
Yeah,
I don't know if it's because these people all got the same crappy memo that they're following, but it's really ruining the craft.
yeah. And I think what my realization is, unless unless creatives can own the thing that they're creating, they will always be subject to the person who has the money, right? And we live in a world where it's becoming such a scarce resource, money, even though it's like so much of it is becoming so scarce where clients are going, oh, we're cutting budgets. And then everybody's kind of clawing for the same budget, which is now scraps for everything movies, advertising agencies, anime houses, like all of that stuff. And so now you kind of bring the creative work down because you want to be able to at least make your stuff. And I think that's where it dies.
I don't know if you saw.
Yeah.
So from time to time, I get really interested in the OG YouTubers, and PewDiePie. He did this weird thing where he's just started drawing like for 2 years, and he got to a good stage, and he showed his progression. He got picked up by the same the publisher production house that did Attack on Titans, and he said, "Come to the studio and have a look at what we're doing." And then he's like, I don't know what to expect. So he goes to the
Yeah.
thing, and he basically shows like how what they go through on a daily basis. They got like this drawing thing, and then like everyone has an exercise to draw. So they show all the progresses on an everyday animator. The amount of work that they put in is like they even briefly speak about, you know, that very iconic scene where I forgot his name now. Very very awesome dude, the guy that freaking
Aaron.
kills. No, the guy that freaking
Oh, Levi.
Levi, freaking hell,
Yeah, yeah,
Levi
yeah.
when he's going through the buildings, and
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah.
it looks like a one shot thing, and
Yeah,
then he
yeah,
like
yeah,
goes
yeah.
through the thing, and it's like that is all hand drawn.
Yeah, dude. But it's the art. This people care, right? People care. I mean, I got lost on AOT at some point, even at the end. But it was still gorgeous, right? Still gorgeous.
It's
Anyway,
okay, cool. Peace. I know you're very
broski.
busy, but it was a very good chat. It wasn't even my
Yeah, yeah,
topic of today, but I think what we chatted about was great. But anyways,
yeah. All right. Shop,
peace.
bro. Peace.
Restrictions sometimes help you push the boundaries a bit more because you figure out ways on how best to navigate within what you have. Sometimes the best work is because of what the restrictive elements that you have in hand. So, say for instance, if you only have a working yellow marker and a couple of strange colored markers, um, force yourself to use those. What will happen? You'll find yourself doing some better work that you didn't least expected. I also need to learn from these advices, but pushing yourself through those really helps. I mean, I'm doing this right now. Um, I thought that having the good camera, some good lighting will help do the thing, but it doesn't still push me through to making the work. So this is me putting in those reps. It does feel very raw, very unfiltered. I need to do this more so that I can get used to making these type of videos. So I'm in the process as well. So um, I hope you enjoy these series. Z and I, we do this every week. I just have trouble getting around editing these videos. I want to make a way that makes the editing much more quick and easier so that I can get these out more faster. Uh, as opposed to about the podcast. So Chasing Line podcast is something that I've been still passionate about. It's just trying to find the time for that. I still freelance, so all the freelancing time gets eaten up because I still need to keep the lights on somehow. Chasing Line doesn't pay me, so it's still a passion project for the time being. You know, I still need to figure out a way how I'm going to make money from it, but it's something that I think the world needs. So I hope you go through this journey with me, and we'll hope to figure this out together, maybe. But yeah, thank you for watching for the rest of the video, and yeah, I hope to push out this more often and do more of these off the cuff talking head videos. But yeah, cool. Take care.